You don't believe in Jimmy G? You don't think he's a top young quarterback in the league?
They wouldn't be talking about fuck them getting Deshaun Watson, right? Let's say that fuck him even being on the market. Jimmy G's not even going to be the quarterback there. And I think that they're willing to stick with figuring that out from there. That's just how much I think that he's not working with them. And clearly, even when first of all, he gets hurt way too often. Let's start there. He's entering that Carson Wentz, glass shattering category. Like he's too injured, man. And so and then even when he is on the field, he's not even that productive. He's not that productive. Considering, the 49ers, they somehow, some way, a running back goes down. All right, next man up. Another running back goes down, next man up. Quarterback even, next man up. And they're still able to be competitive. Like, what I mean? With Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard, they're fucking competitive. And so, he's not worth the pay. And that's why they designed his contract that way, too. Think about it. Everybody was like, whoa. When he got his deal, he was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL that day. And everybody was like, that is ridiculous. He's started 6 games. What? You know what I mean? But clearly, he's an example of, well, let's see. They got to a Super Bowl. Well, he got hurt first. He got hurt the first season. And played well for what it's worth that year. They played well. Got to a Super Bowl the next year. And then he gets hurt again. It's time to move on. And for them, and that's the best part about San Francisco. They got a ton of cap. Their team is still really young. He could go so many different ways. And with Kyle Shanahan, they've got a lot of different players that are potentially available that he's already worked with. I'm sure the Vikings would part ways with Kirk Cousins if the 49ers sent the right deal to him. And it wouldn't cost a first-round pick to get Kirk Cousins. I'm sure if the Falcons were going to get rid of Matt Ryan, I'm sure that Kyle Shanahan would like the idea of working with Matt Ryan again. And so they're in a good position to where they're not going to give up too much to get Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson will be a great fit for them.
You're talking about quarterbacks. We'll keep it in that same conference. Looks like McVay's tired of Jared Goff.
And see, they're screwed because they actually gave him all that money. And
yeah, they're Philly without the ring.
Exactly. Right. They're Philly without the ring. And, I don't know why he hates him or why he's already doing this to where we're going to announce this right now. We're having an open quarterback competition to start the year. I think every year it should be a competition, no matter who your star is. Because at the end of the day, why does the best man not win the job?
Because quarterbacks have fragile egos. You see what happened to Carson Wentz. They drafted a quarterback in the second round, and he just could not play up to his potential because his ego was so shattered.
But a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who we know is one of the greatest, but a guy like him, they draft a quarterback in the first round. He balls out and is going to win MVP this year. And so, maybe he built different, right? and that could be the answer to that. Aaron Rodgers is just built different. Carson Wentz he's Carson Wentz. He's a guy that lives on the reputation of having a promising rookie year and then having an MVP caliber year his second year in his team, and he gets hurt, and it's unfortunate, and they still win. He gets to still be happy. They keep the backup. The backup's okay with still being the backup. Everybody's still happy. He's won the Super Bowl. And now, ever since then, he gets hurt again. Eagles win a playoff game again without him. And then they go to the playoffs the next year and still what was a pretty sad division. I think, what did they go, 8-8, 9-7? Gets hurt in the playoff game. And they lose. And Josh McCown, plays the rest of that game. And then they draft a quarterback who some saw really as kind of a project even.
Yeah, I definitely saw him as a project.
Yeah, as a project. He comes in, kind of ignites the team a little. He looked solid in some of those games. He had one really good game. But it was such a small sample size. And then the coach fucking's like, we want to see what the third stringers got. He's only been here for 4 years, but let's just see what he can do. You know, we already know what he can do because we've seen this dude for 4 straight years. And so that shit's a mess too.
I don't think that was the coach though, man. I really think that's ownership and GM.
You think the owner and the GM said, let's put Nate Sudfeld in?
I believe that because Doug Peterson was not happy, and I think that's why Doug Peterson left. That they cared about the draft position that much that they were like, hey, we're gonna put Sudfeld in.
Man. And I tell you what, that tells you a little bit more about that organization too. They're a mess, and I'm surprised. That's why they got the head coach that they got in reality. Somebody that, I get it, he's a coordinator. Colts with Phillip Rivers didn't have a bad offense, you know, middle of the pack. Well, let Josh tell it, top 10 offenses. That job wasn't that desirable either.
God, no. Once you find out you have assistant coaches reporting directly to the GM and not the head coach, it's like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need this job.
Right. But think about it, Doug, and maybe it's good for Doug to sit out this next year, but Doug, Doug's sitting there and he doesn't have a job right now. And he's going to have to sit out another year. It doesn't look like he's going to get a coordinator job. I mean, unless, who knows, maybe Seattle will hire him.
No, they will Adam Gase.
But you know what? Certain guys are better fits for coordinating jobs too, for what it's worth. I don't know how Dan Quinn's going to do with Dallas, but like Dan, to me, is not fit to be a head coach. Guys like that, they have to stay in that coordinator position, that position coach position. They're not cut out to be head coaches. And Dan he's a good example of that. Game management decisions. You know what I mean? Stuff that head coaches really do need to nail when it comes to games.